Hello, my dear friend. Today I'll take you to a journey with The Leader Who Had No Title book. In this video we will talk about the leadership, and if you really need a CEO position to be a leader, or any other high-level position. So grab your coffee and let's dive in. There was a man named Blake Davies who had lost his mother and father in a tragic accident. He was in his early 20s, moving around looking for jobs so he could support himself, pay bills, and afford things like electricity, water, food, and so on. Eventually, he decided to join the military. He completed his service, but it was a difficult experience for him. This person had a remarkable quality, which was his love of learning. He says that continuous education, especially self-education, is one of the greatest ways to overcome troubled times, and it is one of the main characteristics of a person to become open-minded and strong. And my friend, his words are 100% true. I know you may underestimate this right now, but you won't see the difference until you experience it for yourself. And I can speak to you on a personal level. I used to think very differently than I do now. I was a bit close-minded. And I don't mean that I was overly religious and fanatical, no. For example, if a problem arose, I would just focus on the problem and sit and argue for half an hour, not giving it a chance to be justified. But now, it's completely the opposite. If a problem arises, I think about the solution right away, because I've come to know that a person can make mistakes. It's natural. But the key is that if I just sit and argue, I'm wasting time that I could be using to analyze the problem and find a solution, and the person who made the mistake can learn from it. So you see, this change happened because of books. I've changed in many ways, but this is a simple example. And let me share an important piece of information with you, my friend. No matter how much I read and learn, I will always remain ignorant. Now, let's go back to our friend Blake. Because of his love of learning, he decided to go work at a library so that he could read books at his leisure. But because of this, he was scolded by his manager and coworkers, who looked down on him because he wasn't performing his work duties well, as his focus was on reading books. However, they didn't fire him because the customers loved him. This is a powerful point, my friend. If you are an employee at a place and you are loved by the customers, it is impossible for the place you work at to let you go, because the customer's affection for the employee makes them come to the establishment repeatedly. And now let's begin with the story. One day, the company was having a meeting. They held this meeting once a year, with the goal of motivating the work team and selecting an outstanding employee from each store to reward and recognize. Blake was not at all interested, so he hid behind one of the shelves, not wanting anyone to see him. Suddenly, he felt a tap on his shoulder, and when he turned around, he saw an oddly dressed older man. The man's clothes were disheveled and old, and he was wearing a necklace with the letters LWT on it. The man asked Blake how he was doing. Blake was puzzled, wondering how this stranger knew his name. The older man said he used to work at one of the stores and had been named the top employee for 5 consecutive years, and he seemed proud as he said this. But Blake didn't believe him, thinking the man might be delusional. Blake sat and listened as the elderly man spoke. The man said he had been transferred to the same store that Blake was currently working in. Blake asked why you had been transferred, but he still didn't believe a single word coming from the old man's mouth. But Blake wanted to waste time with him since there is nothing interesting to do. However, the elderly man responded by saying that he had actually requested the transfer himself. As Blake listened, he began to observe the man's confidence and demeanor, which made him seem like a rational and composed individual. After a minute of silence, the elderly man mentioned the name of Blake's father, which left Blake shocked. Blake was even more surprised to learn that this man, named Tom, had been his father's friend. And not just a friend, but also like a brother who had grown up together. Blake was stunned, as he could not recall ever having seen this man, Tom, at their home or anywhere else. Okay, I will call the older man by his name, which is Tom, to avoid any confusion. Tom responded that he and Blake's father had been the closest of friends growing up together. After they had grown up, each had moved to a different city, but they had maintained contact through email. Blake's father had always spoken highly of him, expressing his belief that Blake was strong, skilled, and a hard-working son. This reminded Blake of past memories, and he quietly listened as Tom continued. Tom said he had come to share some secrets with Blake, Before that, Blake asked Tom how he had known that he was here. Tom explained that he had seen Blake's name among the list of top-performing employees, and that had presented an opportunity for him to come and share everything he knew with Blake. Blake did not seem very interested, telling Tom that he did not want the headache and that his life was already chaotic. But Tom was not willing to give up, saying that his own life had once been chaotic and directionless, until he found guidance and was able to take control of his life and achieve things he had never imagined. Tom had come to help Blake in a similar way. Apparently, Blake's life had been quite chaotic to the point that he sometimes wished he had died with his parents, feeling that his life was pointless. He would just wander around, not knowing where he was going or what he was doing without any real purpose or direction. He didn't have any friends, and the only thing he had was his love for books. You're absolutely right. Often one's life has to be shattered before they can rebuild it in a better way. Truly, my friend, sometimes a person doesn't decide to change until their life has been completely broken down and destroyed. It is only then that they resolve to stand back up on their own 2 feet, take charge of their life, direct its course, and reconstruct it in a better manner. The crises and destruction that individuals face can actually be an opportunity for them to return and build their life anew, in a superior fashion. The process is not easy, but it is necessary for genuine transformative change to occur. Someone who has never experienced the complete shattering of their life is often less capable of initiating radical improvements to their trajectory. So the adversities that some people endure can paradoxically be a hidden blessing, compelling them to rise up and rebuild their life in a better way. All right, let's return to the topic. As I mentioned that Blake noticed a necklace with the letters LWT on it, then he asked if those letters were related to the secrets that Tom was going to teach him. Tom replied that yes, those letters represent the very secrets he has learned, which have helped him reorganize the chaos in his life. Tom said that after he learned these secrets, he became a completely different person. His way of thinking, his personal and professional life, everything changed. A full 180-degree shift. He told Blake that he learned these secrets from 4 teachers, who awakened an innate power within him. Not only did it transform his own life, but it also allowed him to view his personal and professional life through an entirely new lens, and even see the world in a completely different perspective. Blake was skeptical, but at the same time his instinct told him that this man was not lying, despite the strangeness of the scenario. So Blake decided to ask him if the letters LWT were as significant as he claimed. Then why didn't he just retire? And even the book company didn't make him a manager or anything. Blake felt he was being rather rude in asking this question, but he asked it anyway, just to see the response. Tom did not take the question personally at all, but rather responded with a very open and forthcoming attitude. He said, "Why would I retire from something I love, and that keeps my heart young? I'm always making new friendships and meeting wonderful people, and my mind stays active by solving problems. I also have the opportunity to motivate my colleagues at work, and he feels a sense of happiness and growth, and he feels that he have a purpose in life, and a reason for his existence." He also mentioned that, for your information, he had worked with the company for 50 years, and they had offered him positions higher than just a manager, but he was not interested in these titles. The positions didn't particularly excite him. LWT philosophy is a core part of how he approaches his career in life. It goes beyond just a job title or position. He believes the best way to build a strong and highly competitive company is to foster a culture of personal development and leadership at all levels, regardless of job title. The idea is that every single employee, from the security guard to the CEO, should approach their role with the mindset of being a leader and taking full ownership and responsibility for their area of work. The job title or position doesn't matter. What's important is that each person brings a leadership mentality to how they do their job. Whether you're a janitor, a teacher, a manager, or an executive, you should see yourself as the one who solves problems, communicates effectively with clients/customers, and manages your domain with excellence. This philosophy goes beyond just companies. He believes this principle of cultivating self-directed leaders applies equally well to any organization, be it a restaurant, a school, a university, or even a whole city. The key is empowering everyone, at every level, to take initiative, make decisions, and deliver their best, regardless of their formal title or position in the hierarchy. The overarching idea is that this breeds a more agile, resilient, and high-performing organization, where leadership and problem-solving capacity is distributed throughout, not concentrated at the top. It's a very compelling and thoughtful perspective. Regardless of your official job title or position, you should approach your work with a mindset of being a leader and taking full ownership and responsibility for your domain. You don't need an official managerial title or formal recognition from authorities to consider yourself a leader in your role. Even if you're in a frontline, non-supervisory position, you should still see yourself as the one in charge of that particular area or your position of working. It's not enough to just do the bare minimum of your job duties. Instead, you should take the initiative to go above and beyond, striving for excellence in everything you do. Don't just punch the clock. Approach your work with enthusiasm, commitment, and a desire to make a positive impact. The mentality should be, I am the leader of this department/office/team, and I will manage and execute the work here to the best of my abilities. I won't just do the basics, but will look for ways to continuously improve and make a difference. As the saying goes, if everyone cleaned their own doorstep, the whole world would be clean. The idea is that we all have the power to create positive change, no matter how humble our role may seem. It's about taking personal ownership and pride in your work, and not waiting for someone else to step up. The leadership mindset I am describing is not dependent on job titles, positions, or other external factors. It's an innate quality that everyone possesses, regardless of their age, role, or location. The philosophy of being a leader in your work does not require having a formal management position or reaching a certain age or career stage. This is a mindset and approach that can be applied universally. We all have an inherent leadership capacity within us, waiting to be unleashed. It's not about the official label or status, but about taking full ownership, initiative, and responsibility in whatever we do. The power to create positive change and make a difference is available to all of us, no matter our job description or place in the organizational hierarchy. The key is tapping into and actualizing that natural leadership potential that resides in each of us. It's about shifting our mentality from being a passive, disengaged employee to an empowered, proactive driver of progress, no matter how minor our role may seem on the surface. Tom over here makes an excellent point that this philosophy is universally applicable. It's not restricted to certain age groups, job levels, or locations. It's a mindset that can and should be embraced by everyone, in service of creating positive change from wherever we are. For example, a 28-year-old customer service representative working for a multinational company in Los Angeles can absolutely tap into the leadership potential within him, using the techniques he will soon learn. By doing so, he can elevate himself to an entirely new reality in terms of the rewards and results he experiences. Similarly, the 34-year-old CEO in San Francisco also has an innate leader within, waiting to be accessed and unleashed. Regardless of his lofty title and position, he too can choose to connect with and actualize that internal leadership capacity. The key is recognizing that leadership is not reserved only for those in the highest echelons. It's a mindset and capability that exists in each of us, regardless of our age, job description, or geographic location. Whether we're an entry-level employee or a C-suite executive, we all have the power to lead, to take ownership, drive progress, and create positive change from where we are. It's about tapping into that intrinsic leadership potential, rather than waiting for an external promotion or validation. By embracing this mindset, both the customer service rep and the CEO can elevate their impact and outcomes, transcending the constraints of their current roles and circumstances. True leadership is not about the external trappings one acquires, like a fancy car, high salary, or large office. Rather, it is about the level of mastery and professionalism one demonstrates, and the ability to undertake great work. One does not need to hold a formal position of authority in order to be a leader. Here is a beautifully captured quote from Nikola Tesla. "The true leader is the one who inspires others with the spirit of creativity and innovation. It is the ability to ignite the imagination and think outside the box." See, he did not say authority, money, or even position. Here is the short story about leadership before we end this video. John was a new manager at the company, and he knew he would face significant challenges. The team he was leading was initially skeptical and hesitant, as they were accustomed to the old, more authoritative and directive style of leadership. But John had a different vision. Instead of focusing on tasks and commands, he began by listening to the team's ideas and observations. He explained the company's new vision and the goals they would pursue together. Over time, the team started to embrace the new approach. They felt that their opinions and contributions were valued, and that they were true participants in the process. They began to demonstrate more initiative and enthusiasm in their work. As the team's engagement and cohesion increased, the results improved noticeably. John was able to guide the efforts towards the shared objective in a collaborative and inspiring manner. By the end of the first year, the team was working at a high level of efficiency and achieving remarkable accomplishments. John had become a role model for effective leadership in the company. This small transformation at the outset of his journey taught him that true leadership comes through inspiring and engaging others, not just through authority and commands. The essence is that leadership is not about power. It is about performing your work with professionalism, excellence, and creativity. This makes all the difference in one's life. That's it for this episode. I hope you had a great time. I can't wait to see you in the next episode where we will continue our journey together. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps me to continue. And have a great day.